Katie and welcome back to Crafting with Katie. Today we are going to be making our very own stamp. I found this picture, the silhouette of a loon, and I am going to be tracing this onto this rubber here and then using this tool to carve out all the excess space, and hopefully I'll be able to print it onto this paper here and it will look like it should. It'll be an exact copy of this. Let's go ahead and get started. A picture to trace. I picked this silhouette of a loon. I bought a stamp making kit from my local craft store. It included a 4x6 rubber square, a carving tool, paint, and this roller. I had some watercolor paper. It's nice and thick and will be perfect for stamping. It's important to use pencil to trace your picture. We need that graphite to transfer onto the rubber. I traced out my loon. I went over the outside of the body. The back and the neck had a bunch of little detail. I did a general mapping of where those stripes and squares landed. When I carve, I'll go in and make all those little cuts. I flipped my paper over and used my fingers to rub the paper onto the rubber. I was careful not to move or shift the paper. I removed the paper and darkened the lines that transferred.
It's not too bad.
My carving tool came with 3 size metal heads.
I'm going to use the smallest one.
And then go back and carve away the empty space with a bigger blade or nib. I twist the top part of the carver to change out my nib. Be careful when handling the metal, it is very sharp. I did a little practice on the side of the rubber square. I went around my drawing, carving next to the pencil lines. I have to remember that whatever we carve away will be the negative space. Whatever is left will have paint on it. I realized that a lot of this rubber won't be used, so I grab a box cutter and cut off the extra so I can use it for another stamp later. This also cuts down on the amount of time carving out that space. I went through and carved around the outside so I didn't have any raised edges outside the body of the loon. I was careful not to go too deep or too far from the drawing. The whole carving process took about 30 minutes. Carving out chunks of rubber was such a stress reliever. It was like a little meditation. I trimmed down the sides one more time with my box cutter. Now it's time to paint. I used way too much. I used some paper plates and applied the provided paint to the roller. I rolled the paint onto the stamp. The contrast between the pink and the black let me see my carvings even better. For my first attempt, I left the stamp on the bottom and placed the paper on top. I rubbed the paper with the tips of my fingers, but I've seen artists use the back of a metal spoon. I peeled the paper off and we got one very dark loon. The amount of paint filled in a lot of the carved space. I tried a second time without applying any paint, and the stamp came back better.
Oh, the second one looks so good.
You could see the details of the loon's feathers. I went in with more paint. This time I put the stamp on top of the paper and pressed, making sure I went around the whole bird.
So much better. Oh, this is cool. This looks so great.
I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm pretty excited about this craft. I'm gonna keep working on this just a little bit, just to tweak it. There's a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to how much paint to put on and how much pressure. If you want to add more design, you can always carve more out of the rubber. So I'm gonna take this over to the sink and wash all of this off, and then I'm gonna be able to use this again and again and again. If you want to, because this is a little flimsy, you can also glue this to a wood block and then that will be your stamp. I see so many possibilities with this. I mean, you could do your address to put at the top of an envelope, a Crafting with Katy logo. That might be the next thing that I do. That's a good idea. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.